You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey everyone, welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Grateful that you're here with us. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio, streaming at cklu.ca online. Just click on the Radio Player Canada app and you can stream us. If you download the Radio Player Canada app, you can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. We're also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News and youtube.com/Sudbury News. It's going to be a great show today, as usual, because you're going to make it a great show. So make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow our pages and channels out there. We're at facebook.com, YouTube, Twitter, now X, and we're also living on our website at sudbury.news, which is Sudbury's news aggregator. All of Sudbury's news aggregates onto one convenient location, so you don't have to go searching for it. It comes to you. Just go to sudbury.news. And if you want to see the show on demand, you just click on Sudbury News Talk on the website. And again, you can see it on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, now X, after the show on demand. Currently, it's only live on the two platforms. You can comment on both platforms, but the conversation will continue on Facebook afterwards. You can continue to comment on the show, YouTube. Or you can make comments, I guess, underneath the show, but it's not quite a conversation on YouTube, I find, as much as it is on Facebook. So hopefully you'll be able to comment. I'll do my best to read the comments and get for those listening and get them up on the screen for those watching and for those after the show. Yesterday we had a great show. We had Natalie Labby on. She's Sudbury's Ward 7 councillor on City Council. It was a great conversation we had with her. She was explaining a lot of complicated things that were going on in the city recently, and her particular perspective on it, and she's been in the eye of the storm with all of that as well. So she was able to be on and explain a lot of that. And I appreciate the respectful comments that people were making. And it's only good in order to have a dialogue with city councillors, with yourselves and with us as a city, to keep the respect mutual, so that way we can hopefully have enough dialogue and conversation to have a positive outcome if we ever want to diplomatically work together to have positive results. It's the way to do it. I mean, how would you treat a friend? How would you, even if you were speaking to a foe, somebody that, you didn't see eye to eye on any level whatsoever, and you wanted to debate or argue, if you will. Argument wasn't always a negative word. There is arguing is a form of debate. So even in an argument with somebody, it's good to be respectful. Use words. You don't have to swear. You don't have to attack or anything like that. It's you can get your point across without being angry, and I know it's hard not to be frustrated sometimes, because there's some frustrating things going on in our community, in our province, in our country, in our world, and we get it, and we know that. But what would you prefer, war or diplomacy, right? I would prefer diplomacy. I would prefer to work together to come to a good result. And sometimes you'd be surprised who you can influence if you are able to articulate your point of view. Your point of view, if it is true, will resonate. Truth resonates, always will. It always did, it always will. And that's what it comes down to. So we're grateful for the service that Natalie and other councillors give to our city, and we're grateful for that. And we're not in those positions, but if we want to have some particular influence, it's good to keep the dialogue open and even, have your point of view be able to get into the ears of those who go to the meetings and make those decisions is a real a benefit to everybody, right? So the more we can keep dialogue open in an age where everybody's canceling everybody and shutting each other down, it's really good to encourage open dialogue, no matter who it's with. So here you go. So here's the show today. We're going to be talking about local news, other things that affect people other than living in Sudbury, but things that affect us in Sudbury usually affect people living anywhere else as well. The world is becoming more and more homogenized. The problems we face are the problems most people face. So if you are joining us from outside of the city, province, country, welcome. I think it's still going to be a beneficial show for you. And you also can comment, and we look forward to that. We invite you to do that. If you are from out of town or whatever, you just say, hey, I'm from wherever, and I'll give you a shout out. So we'll start off, as we usually do, with a little bit of weather. I'm not sure where our deep dive is going to go today after our local headlines, but it may go, again, I've seen this video several times in circulation, and it's a particular individual speaking about the origins of how oil was defined as fossil fuel, like where it got its name, fossil fuel. And someone might have shared this with me, and I apologize if I'm not giving proper credit, because I really appreciate all of the videos and all of the information that's shared with me by all y'all. It's, whenever I have 15 minutes at work on a break or whatever, I'm checking and I'll watch whatever you're sending me. And it's really been eye-opening. A lot of the information that you are sending me, a lot of it gets onto the show, whether it's directly also resharing the videos or whatever you're sending, or at least just gets into the ether of things, and then is able to be shared with everyone else. So we really appreciate the community that we've been able to build that is Sudbury News Talk, because it is your show on your station, CKLU 96.7 FM, community radio that's been around since 1984. And we have a fundraiser coming up June the 1st, and Judy, who is heading that up, will be on the show tomorrow. So looking forward to her being on the show. Judy Strawn, if you haven't heard of her or know who she is, she's a force to be reckoned with in the community. She's been involved with many arts-related projects. She is a author of sorts herself. She's written plays. She's done all kinds of things. She hosts a show on Eastlink TV, here at the local community TV station. And her son is the GM of CKLU, the community radio station. So she really has been involved in the community for many, many years. And we're looking forward to speaking with her about the fundraiser, which CKLU relies 100% on, on community support and donations and grants and things like that, right? So we'll have a really great show tomorrow for you with interviewing Judy. So we'll be back with weather, news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great, 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 great show as I try and queue up the next segment. We'll be back. And Sudbury Weather is brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Currently, it is 4 degrees out there. It's partly cloudy. Today, we can expect it to be clearing in the morning, and the wind will be moderately, gusting to 40 kilometers per hour. The high today, 16. So it's not the hottest day in the world, but tonight it'll clear. It'll be clear, and it'll be a low of +4. So a cool night tonight. And then Thursday, sunny with a high of 19. UV index will be 6. And look at that. Sunny tomorrow, sunny Friday, sunny Saturday. But yesterday it said it'd be sunny today, but now it's just going to be mostly sunny. So let's hope that it doesn't creep into the the forecast in the next couple of days where the clouds kind of take away all of our sunshine. But, if it's not a natural cloud, we've seen man-made clouds. We talk about a lot on the show. Let's just hope they need to take a break for a week or so and give us some sun. So tomorrow it's forecast to be sunny and 19 degrees. Friday, 24 degrees and sunny. Saturday, 24 degrees as well and sunny. And then 23, mix of sun and cloud on Sunday. Mix of sun and cloud, 24 on Monday. 21, mix of sun and cloud on Tuesday. Look at your satellite here. This was taken last night. As you see the clouds going away, I'm going to see if I can refresh this. I already tried to do that. It didn't give any newer of a satellite image, but you never know. No, it's kind of stuck on that. So just wants to show us 11:30 last night. A lot of clouds overhead, but as you can see, if the winds are constantly going from the west to the east, that's where we're getting a lot of our clearing. That is your Sudbury weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with your comments, news headlines, and more right after this. All right, and welcome back, and thanks for sticking with us. We got quite a few people on this morning. It's been the viewership on Facebook anyways has been going up again, so we're appreciative of whatever algorithm is allowing that to happen. And we have a few people joining us, first of all, from YouTube. And let's see, Nancy's first to the YouTube party this morning. Enjoyed yesterday's broadcast. Yes, good morning, Nancy, and thanks for that. I did too. I thought it was great, and I really appreciated Natalie's suggestion that we have a segment called Municipal Matters. And whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, something, we'll figure that out. And again, keep the dialogue open with those that are representing us on City Council, I think is going to be very important for everybody. And Jessica, good morning. I'm finally up early enough to comment, and we really appreciate you being on. And yes, it is kind of early. I think after two plus years, I'm starting to feel it. I kind of wake up every morning tired, but it is what it is. It's what we do for the community, and it's I get more back from it than it seems the energy that I exude doing it. Can you encourage people to join their Community Action Network? More information can be found on the city website. All of the CANs, or Community Action Networks, have only a handful of volunteers and need help. And now I really appreciate this, Jessica, because it is something that we see a recurring theme from a lot of the people that comment on the show, that we need to get involved more. And this is a way that we can really get involved. If you're talking grassroots, there's nothing more grassroots than getting involved pretty much in your neighborhood is what the CANs are. It's right around where you live. So whether it's Minnow Lake or Flour Mill or wherever it is, these are places that you can go and have your voice heard and make a difference. And where else can you start than your own backyard, right? So thanks, Jessica, for that. Really appreciate it. And Judy, good morning. Thanks for being with us. And David as well. Good morning. Take care. Stay safe. You as well, David. Thanks for being on. And Marianne, good morning from Barrie. Liked and shared as usual. Much appreciated. And hope you're having a good morning. Belinda, positive statement of the day, positive quote. Good morning to you. Light and shadow are opposite sides of the same coin. We can illuminate our paths or darken our way. It's a matter of choice. So true. The yin and the yang symbol, right? The black with a little bit of white in it, the white with a little bit of black in it. And it's just a very, it's a little symbol that means a lot, and it's so true. But we can choose what we even think. Can you imagine that? A lot of people say, "Oh, I can't help what I think. I can't change the way I think. I can't change the way I am." But it's not true. You can. You have the ability to do that more than you think. So let's say you're having a hard time doing that. Just start knowing, at least, that it's possible. Maybe you're having a hard time doing it. Maybe it's taking forever to make that change. But just know that it is possible. It's just, it might take you longer than maybe some other people to find it. But once you find it, you're going to be way more grateful for that process. You can change the way you think. You can be more positive. We had Kyan Lautenschlager, who is world peace, on the show a few weeks ago. And he's a great example. He has a lot of haters out there, which I was really surprised about. But anyways, he's a great example of choosing to be positive and then perpetuating that and influencing other people to be positive as well. So thanks for that, Belinda. Much appreciated. Randy, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. Hope you're having a good morning, as well as Jerome. Morning, y'all. And Penny, good morning. Liked and shared. Diane, bon matin. And everyone, yes, same to you, Diane. Thanks for being on. And Anthony, morning, y'all. I'm seeing a lot of first-time commenters anyways. Much appreciated. Continue to do that. Glad to see you guys on. Liette, good morning, everyone. From Collingwood. And Penny would prefer diplomacy over war, and so would I. Denise says they got their paychecks and they do as they're told. The puff is in the pudding. Did I read that? The puff. Oh, the stuff, maybe you meant to say. The stuff is in the pudding. So I think you're alluding to politicians. I would think so. They don't get paid all that much, the local, the councillors. Their paychecks aren't all that much, although they do supplement their either retirement income or their full-time jobs, but they're really not all that much. Now, mayors are another thing altogether, and the current mayor apparently took a pay cut from what our former mayor was making. He was making more than the mayor in Toronto, and then he came in and said, I'm just going to decrease that, which was pretty admirable. One admirable thing, we have to show admiration when there's admirable actions taken from those who are representing us. Brian says, good morning, Patriots. Diplomacy is the art of telling people to go to hell in such a way that they ask for directions. Winston Churchill. Well, thank you, Brian. That's a humorous but possibly true statement. Again, right? Have you ever heard the term killing someone with kindness? Again, it's not to be negative. The end result is that you want you want a positive result. And so when you're dealing with people that you may think are your enemy, you may think everything they believe is opposite of you. They're actually doing things to influence your life in a negative way. Negativity versus negativity, right? The two wrongs don't make a right kind of thing. That kind of thing. It's just not. You can do more with your language in a positive way if you're articulate and you're able to articulate what you're trying to say, communicate the truth, then it can resonate and it can make change. And it may be slow, but you can plant seeds and it's all there is to it. And we don't all know everything about everything, right? And so you got to give some people the benefit of the doubt at the same time. And our systems are our systems. Like we saw, we saw Jessica basically on the show this morning encouraging us to get involved in your community action networks. So these are things you can do. And then the community action network, is a group of voices together that then have a little bit more clout with those that are there to represent you. It's just, again, it's the long game. It's not just sit back and allow others to do it for you. We have to take up the cause. And if you take it up in a positive way, in a correct way, you're even going to get more out of it. So being negative, losing your mind, getting angry, sure, frustration can lead to these things, but if it controls you and takes you over, you eventually, you won't end up in a good place. And so continuing to choose, as Belinda started us off today, to be positive, choose to think of solutions, choose to think of how you can articulate those solutions to others, then creates influence, and then influence creates change, because we need to influence decision makers, and decision makers are influenced. This is the whole idea of lobbyists. They're influenced by you and me and other people. So who's the squeaky wheel? Like who's the one getting, able to get the attention of those decision makers, right? All right, so here you go. Marianne says part of the job as a city councillor is always talking and being involved with your constituents. If you stop talking to them, be prepared to get negative feedback as part of the job. Maybe other councillors can learn from this. Don't stop communicating with the people who pay your salary, the people you represent too, right? And we talked about the paying salary thing, and we're their boss, right? So you're the boss of a politician because you pay their salary. Well, what kind of boss are you? What kind of boss are you then? Are you one that would get your hand slapped for, harassment at work? Or are you a boss that someone could look to and say, that's what's my favorite boss? We've all had a worse boss and a favorite boss, I'm pretty sure. Some people never had a boss. They've been in business their whole career, but their clients or their customers are their bosses, right? So think of the really good clients or customers you had and really bad clients or customers. But bosses, most of us have had them. Think of the really good ones you've had and the really bad ones. If we're the boss of politicians, those people that are elected, that we elect, and then we pay to represent who? Represent us. Okay, so how are we now communicating with our employees? Those that we pay the salary for, right? So you can be a good boss and communicate positively. So Monique, good morning. Sudbury with a smiley emoji. Good morning, Pat, with a smiley emoji. Much appreciated. Keep the emojis coming. Denise, blessings, everyone. Shared to the groups. Much appreciated. And Monique says, grand rising, everyone, with a sunshine emoji and a heart emoji. Good morning, Maurice. Positive smiley emoji. Good morning to you. And good morning, Wade Hine from Pass It On Undercoating. And thank you. Yes, I guess I'm young comparative to some people, so I appreciate the young man. And good morning to you, young man, as well, Wade. And if you ever need undercoating, which is probably now is a good time to get undercoating, Pass It On Undercoating right on Kelly Lake Road. You can't miss it. Just look for the sign or just look them up on Google. Pass It On Undercoating uses a more environmentally friendlier solution to undercoat your vehicle that works better than the other guys. So check them out. Wade Hine, Pass It On Undercoating. Pat, you are the reason I get up at 7:30. Sometimes listen on the radio. So if I'm not here, that's why. Well, thank you very much, Pat. Much appreciated on that. I am feeling the love. And Sean, good morning from St. Charles. Yes, one of our neighboring towns here. Much appreciated. And you're welcome, Jessica. Not a problem at all. And Natalie is on as usual. Natalie says she's listens to the show and watches the show quite frequently. So yes, good point about the cans. The community action networks. More people need to get involved and learn what's going on and the money available to each ward to use for great community-driven ideas to improve your area. Also, the police attend to share stats on crime and in your specific area and ward. Always great information shared and really good engagement. A really good engagement tool. Thank you very much, Natalie, for that endorsement for the community action networks. We usually talk about ways to get involved in the community, and what a great, I can't think of a greater way to do that is to really, it's grassroots. Get involved in your own micro community with these community action networks. And I think the name says it all, right? Community, action, and networking to bring to pass what's best for your community. Gardens are in. Denise, the rain helped. I hope others grow your own this year. Gardening is my piece right now, and ours as well. Gardening is a whole, you can make so many metaphors about gardening and life It's crazy. And when you're doing it, it's very therapeutic. It can be frustrating when you're first learning to get it off the ground. But once you get the basics down, it can be very rewarding as you see the fruits of your labors, rising up from the dirt, and then you get to eat it too and share it with others. It's so great. And even if it isn't just to save money at the grocery store, it doesn't always save you money, but it is healthier because you're in control of your garden, and it's also there's a lot of satisfaction comes from the knowledge you gain from doing gardening and just the process itself, and then the fruits of it. I know maybe you're not growing fruit, some people do, but meaning the reward of the actual thing that you're growing, you get to eat. Natalie, yes, haters are going to hate, and they are. Haters hate, right? And again, I don't know what comes out of hating, or, I've always, it's better to forgive because you're the one carrying around the negative energy. And, when you're communicating with other people and you have hate coming out of you, it's not going to end up well for you or for the person that you want to have something bad happen to, or else you wouldn't be hating, right? You want something negative to happen to that other person that you're conversing with, whether it's online or whether it's, texting or whether it's in person. When you're hating on somebody, you're wishing negativity to happen to somebody else. And that kind of energy being in your body it's not healthy for you, first of all. And if you get rid of that and you have a more of a forgiveness attitude, a attitude of gratitude, if you will, you're just grateful for the opportunity to be here with this person that you don't see eye to eye with, that they might have done something to you, whatever. And if you're then in your Zen moment and you're in a forgivable, way, you can then articulate, because your heart's not racing and you're convulsing and you can't really get your words out. And then now you say dumb things. Have you ever been in an argument and you said dumb things and in your head you go, why did I just say that? I don't even believe that. That's what happens, and then you got to stand behind it and, then make it make sense, and you just keep digging yourself an even bigger hole. So it's just not good. But good morning, Denise. Everyone enjoyed this beautiful sunny day. Stay safe and healthy. That's Denise. So Gilles, good morning, my friend. I believe you're in North Bay. Gilles, great to have you on. Thanks for being with us. And Anne-Marie have a wonderful day and much appreciated. And you as well. I see so many new people or people that don't comment very often on today's show. So maybe Natalie kicked something off yesterday. I'm not sure. Chris, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being on, Chris. Much appreciated. Marion, counselors are part-time jobs, and that is true too. Although it's full-time hours, I think, if you really look at the hours. They are full-time hours, but part-time. They're part-time jobs. And Miles says, good morning. I think she meant the proof is in the pudding. Oh, the proof. Yes, you're right. Thank you, Miles. That is true. Louise, good morning and happy hump day, everyone. That's Louise. Thanks for being on, Louise. And Chris says, mares, yes, like we are all bilingual. Just like we are a bilingual town, we have a unilingual mayor. Most people in Sturgeon are French, and she's English. Oh, I did not know this. Huh. Well, Sudbury, we have a bilingual mayor. Maybe, he can reach out and give some lessons, and not only language, but also mayoral lessons too. Anyways, I say that tongue in cheek. I don't even know what I just said. It wasn't even funny. But anyways, that's interesting that you don't have a bilingual mayor in Sturgeon Falls. Even I'm surprised about that. I think you have more French than English there in Sturgeon. Sunny Ways, LOL. Denise says they average $10,000 a month. Page 1 of 27. Total result, $540. Okay, Denise also shares a sunshine list with us there of the employees from Greater Sudbury. And Miles says, yes, Jesus says, love your enemies. There's a lot in that, for sure. Now, if you really want to go to the hardest thing to do in what I was saying is have an attitude of gratitude, have a forgiving kind of way about you, to take that counsel, to take that suggestion, to actually not only forgive, not only not hate, not only just be nice, but to actually love your enemies. Whoa. Now that's like, if that was a personal trainer at the gym and you translated that into a workout, that'd be the hardest workout in the world to do, right? To actually turn your hate into love, to love your enemies. I think that's why I subscribe. That's why I definitely try to live that counsel, because it's the hardest to do, and I appreciate that for sure. And that and other reasons too. Marianne Wright, not bad for part-time jobs, eh? Okay, so we still have 6 years to fight, okay? That's Denise. Ask the natives why being caring got them. Ask natives where being caring got them, for sure. So that's the thing too. A lot of our politicians go out and they use, we care about you, we're going to do these things. And then you look at, it ends up being not so great at the end of the day, right? And there are nefarious people out. There are people out there with nefarious plans. There just are. It's more of a few people than there are many, and they do have huge influence. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of resources, and they don't want good things for the rest of people. And it just is what it is. And I can back that up, and I possibly will at the end of the show today if we have time to get to that. So, speaking of municipalities and people trying to influence it and getting involved with your community action networks, there's people from the top down as well want to influence our communities in forms of NGOs, the UN, people like the WEF, the WHO, these big unelected international organizations that they really do want to influence neighborhoods and communities and provinces, and they have plans to do that. Right? So the only way to kind of combat that is to get involved on the ground floor, because they're not here. You are, and you can actually make a difference here. So we'll maybe try and back that up a little bit later. I want change, so I'm running for mayor in St. Charles when the next election comes around. Well, congratulations, Sean. Well, you definitely can come on here and use our show as a way to, we can have an interview, and if you want to articulate the things that you want to do in St. Charles, you're welcome to come on this show. All you have to do is email me at sudburynews@gmail.com, sudburynews@gmail.com, or message me on Messenger, either way, and we can set that up. Much appreciated. Okay, so we're going to have to move on here. We still have quite a few comments. I would possibly never get through the show if I was to go through all the comments, and so I appreciate you guys being on, and I'll do my best to get them on the screen now as we kind of check in on some of the local headlines. Slash, the guitarist from Guns N' Roses and other bands, and also his own projects. Slash, him, he's got that dark, the black hat on, and Guns N' Roses, the long black hair, the glasses, the cigarette hanging out of his mouth. Great guitar player, one of the best guitar players ever, in my opinion. Just wrapped up, he produced a show, a movie called Death Stalker, and they just wrapped up production right here in Sudbury, and he has a pretty big name director there, and they just wrapped up. So that story is on Sudbury.com. If you want to check that out, you're more than welcome to do that. I'm just going to check in on Sudbury.news here. This is our news aggregator for the community. If you haven't checked it out yet, check out Sudbury.news. All of the stories from CBC, CTV, Sudbury Star, Sudbury.com are on the website, and you don't have to go searching them. And it's hard to get news these days, right? It's not on Facebook or Instagram anymore. So Sudbury's YMCA is bouncing back from a financial crisis. You remember they were in financial crisis. They were in financial dire straits, if you will, and they were looking at possibly shutting down, as they are in the Sault Ste. Marie's YMCA is totally shutting down. So it was possible to happen here as well. But now the CEO said community support after the pandemic came through to ensure Sudbury Y is sustainable. Yes. So community support. That's what the YMCA is there for community, and the community is supporting it. You can check out that story on Sudbury.com. Now, hundreds of convenience stores are going to be getting booze. So alcohol will be available in our corner stores, convenience stores, going forward. That's interesting. It's kind of like, I think Quebec has that, the United States, and we haven't seen that. We've only seen like the liquor store and the beer store, which were totally, run by the province. 100%. They were government jobs when you got employed there. And now I think they're backing out of that model, and it's being sold in grocery stores. And now convenience stores will also be carrying alcohol going forward in Ontario. If you want to read more about that, CBC is covering that story for you. Check out that from Sudbury.news. Sudbury's plan to end homelessness by 2030 requires provincial and federal funding. That was something tabled or put forward by Mike Parent to get rid of homelessness by 2030. And Sudbury.com basically has the story on that. And here you go. The roadmap to end homelessness in Sudbury. What's the cost? A mere $350 million to end homelessness. That's the price tag. A report to council will discuss what's being called the roadmap to end homelessness by 2030, a plan that features an estimated cost of approximately $350 million. The estimated cost, which would be a mix of federal, provincial, and municipal funds, included $322 million in capital and startup costs, $13.6 million annually in operating costs, and $11 million annually in additional rent supplements. The report shows that help is needed. The trend line for homelessness in Greater Sudbury estimates the homelessness population will reach 741 individuals by 2030, a 205% increase from December of 2023, reads the report. Trend lines were also developed to determine the expected increase by each actual or acuity level. Acuity levels indicate the level of support the person would require to obtain and maintain permanent housing, and prioritizes the individual for the most appropriate support services. Now, Mike may or may not, and people may or may not view this or see this as a kind of communistic approach to a problem, and it is what it is. It's one way of dealing with it. You can deal with things with socialism and communism or capitalism or, different ways of looking at things. But this is a government approach with government money. Basically, it's like welfare on steroids kind of thing, right? So we have welfare currently, which we know isn't very much money. And is it meant to be very much money? Is it meant to be a life for people, like to live off of welfare? Is that what we really, really want our goal to be? Do we want to provide a life for people and have it government subsidized? You know what I mean? So what I see, it's the beginning of, well, it's already began, but it's another step in the whole crabs in the bucket thing where we're on a race to the bottom. So we see this now. Today it's providing it for the homeless, but more and more we're seeing more and more people losing their jobs. Inflation is is up. More and more people are at food banks. And it's just a trend that we're seeing. Again, this will be society's norm. It'll just be everyone has a place provided for them that's funded by the government, which then looks like, old school Soviet Union kind of stuff, and that's really what we need to bear in mind when we see this kind of thing. It's great to not learn from history and to kind of discount what that model looks like and not think of what could happen in the future. But when you do start thinking of things like that, you have to really entertain the idea that this is full-on communism and full-on subsidized housing. Everyone gets the same thing, a universal income for everybody. Everyone gets the same thing. So then it doesn't matter if you're a doctor, a ditch digger. There's no ditch diggers anymore, but you know what I mean. A laborer or a doctor, they're all paid the same. You're all the same. You all get the same kind of square footage of a house provided you by the government, and everyone makes the same living wage. You know what I mean? That is communism. That's out and out communism. And we see this coming in with these principles being, sold to us also, that it's for the betterment of everybody because we care about those that are marginalized, right? We need to bring everyone down because there's a marginalized population. And I know people will say, that's not what this is. That's not what's going on. But you don't see the piece of the puzzle. You don't make the connections of what's going on from the top down and then what we're doing from the bottom up, right? And so the end results are there are people out there that have these ideas for our cities. And it's the UN basically, right? They're very open with their ideas of what they want for us. And they have agendas, and they call them agendas. You ever hear you have an agenda? You people will say that, or people will accuse other people of having an agenda. Well, they come out and call it an agenda. Agenda 2021, Agenda 2030. They publish it, and you can go and read it on their website, right? So what are their ideas for you in your cities eventually? What do they want for you? The UN, the new kind of government of the world with their own courts and their own economies and everything's going to be worldwide. Globalism, new world order that's going to be the new everything for everybody. What are their ideas for you in your city, right? So let's check in on that right now, and we'll be back right after this. Pretty telling.
Covering Sustainable Development Goal number 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. This is the United Nations global goal that is being used to justify the global surveillance system by selling the idea that the only way to save the planet is by having a huge chunk of the world's population living in cities. Existing cities must be upgraded to smart cities, and many, many more cities must be built from the ground up as smart cities. They say that these cities are sustainable, yet that couldn't be further from the truth. SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. They say that SDG 11 is about making cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. They go on to say that the world's population is constantly increasing. To accommodate everyone, we need to build modern, sustainable cities. For all of us to survive and prosper, we need new, intelligent urban planning that creates safe, affordable, and resilient cities with green and culturally inspiring living conditions. Firstly, how can a city ever be sustainable? How can those words even sit side by side when they contradict each other? Another oxymoron is green cities. Living in dense, stack and pack cities is actually less efficient and unsustainable because when you have to bring in resources from outside of the city, it means that the city is reliant on other lands to function. It is physically impossible for a city or people living in large enough numbers that require importation of resources to ever be sustainable, let alone lessen the impact on the environment. Where does the city get food and water? Where does the energy come from? What about cement, glass, wood, steel, solar panels? Where does the waste go? Where does the silicon come from that makes the solar panels? Where does the copper come from for all of the technology that runs the smart city? Where does lithium or nickel come from? What about plastic, asphalt, and every last consumer good? I could go on and on and on. The reality is that natural resources and rare minerals, along with other resources such as food and water for cities, come from lands that cities are dependent on. And so-called smart, green, and sustainable cities, as they grow in numbers, so will the lands that need to be denuded to build and maintain them. Yet the United Nations, the World Economic Forum, the Club of Rome, and all of the corporate players invested in running the world, they pretend to care about the environment and they tell concerned people exactly what they want to hear, whilst they financialize nature and build a global surveillance system. Their agenda does not solve pollution and depletion of natural resources, but instead it actually makes it worse. The sacrifices we are going to be expected to make in the name of the greater good is to move away from nature, off the land, and away from wide open spaces where we'll be more disconnected from nature and at the mercy of a technological and economic system that further dehumanizes us. Living in smart cities means that we'll no longer have the choice to live amongst nature, to live in natural surroundings. We'll be cut off from daily direct contact with nature, and we won't be able to interact with the earth the way humans are supposed to, because we will be living in artificial environments that are highly toxic, with minimal sunlight and consuming synthetic foods. There will be too many people living in too small of an area, full of a multitude of surveillance technology that not only monitors and manages us, but technologies that we will be reliant on to access the essentials. And so-called sustainable cities are being built in deserts, in dust bowls, which once again is not sustainable. It is simply not supported by evidence. Yet the illusion of the green, clean city is being sold to us, so we accept the reduction in living standards, along with all of the cameras, a digital twin, also known as a digital identity, sensors, and concentrated power in the hands of a few. To quote a genuine environmentalist, Paul Kingsnorth, what does it mean to save the planet, to save humanity? Even if creating this kind of technotopia would save the planet, I don't want to live in it because it looks like a prison to me. And they're using clever perception management and marketing, public relation campaigns, and corporately funded environmentalist groups who have members who have no idea how hoodwinked they are. This quote by Derek Jensen sums it up really well. You will have hundreds of thousands of people marching in the streets of Washington or New York or Paris. And if you ask those individuals, why are you marching? They will say, we want to save the planet. And if you ask them for their demands, they will say, we want subsidies for the solar and wind industry. That's extraordinary. I can't think of any time in history when a mass movement has been so completely captured and turned into lobbyists for an industry. And of course, they're using celebrities to promote these green illusions too, people who are very accustomed to reading a script and playing a role. I wonder if any of them realize what they are even talking about. If one was to question these solutions or even take a look at the Mining and Metals World Economic Forum intelligence map, they would find that it is actually a blatant lie, because it is more industry, more extraction, more denuding of the earth, and more mass production and an expansion of corporate interests. Whether it is to make solar panels, windmills, electric vehicles, they are still mining the planet. There are no plans to stop mining. In fact, it is expanding. And now they want to mine the deep sea to provide the materials necessary for the proliferation of so-called green technology. The ocean and its inhabitants are becoming the next sacrifice zone in the name of green technology. There is no loyalty to the planet. Exploitation will continue. Industrialized deforestation will continue. Taking land for resources from people will continue. Land theft in the name of preservation and mining resources will continue. And the same entities who have been polluting our planet, whilst they continue to gobble up all of our resources and our lands, are the very same that are behind these so-called solutions. They are just wearing a different hat. Although it is no secret that ExxonMobil, Big Ag, Big Timber, and Big Oil are behind biofuel. Biofuel is where they are taking the living planet, such as plants and trees, and turning them into fuel for power plants. And it's also no secret that all of those pushing it are funded by giant foundations who are invested in green technologies and the resource-based economy. Farms and forests are being destroyed for green battery factories. Drilling for oil is not stopping. A city just can't run on solar and wind, and they are doing a really good job diverting most people's attention from this reality. We are facing a future where we are being further and further dehumanized, where there will be even more concentrated power in the hands of a few. What they are trying to accomplish is to take control of every element of civilization under the guise of sustainability. And they are hoping that by the time the general public catch up with the fact that green technology is unsustainable, the smart city infrastructure will be built, and it won't matter what energy source it is ran on. It will be too late. They don't care that eventually it will be shown to be ineffective or unsustainable. They just care that you believe it long enough to get the technological infrastructure in and everyone dependent on it. Because once it's complete, there will be no way out.
Look at this. That's craziness. All these videos. It's like Facebook knows exactly what to do to make it, bizarre. Anyways, there you go. So what do you think about all of that stuff that we just seen? I apologize for the Facebook videos after. I have no idea why they do that. But anyways, so yeah. So you can see there, this is what I see a lot of the things going on in our city today, and we're making these decisions locally. Like, do we know, where they could, are we connecting any dots? There are people out there, how many smart cities are there now in Canada? I was just looking at the website. They had this contest, I don't know how long ago. They'll give you $5 million, $10 million, $15 million, or $50 million if you propose your smart city plan, and they'll give you government money if you have the best smart city plan. So there's thousands and thousands, or hundreds and hundreds of cities in Canada that are, set up to be smart cities. I've shared them. You just have to go on Sudbury News's Facebook page, and you'll see that. And there's two. There's Edmonton and there's Kitchener-Waterloo. Just two of many. And the cities now are going out saying, yeah, we are going to be a smart city or a 15-minute city. The idea of 15-minute city means you can get to any kind of place around your home within 15 minutes. And these are the sustainable, as they use the term, sustainable communities. So you can get to find whatever it is you're looking for within 15 minutes. And you don't need a car, because cars are not a part of this new idea of these sustainable communities, because car gives you freedoms to go and travel and do things. And they want everybody kind of within a close distance from where they live. Now, you think that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's just a thing. It just is. Go read it on the UN's website on their sustainable goals, which they have many of them, and you can read them. It may take some time, but they definitely have goals for you and me, and I don't think I want to be a part of them. And I don't really necessarily think that they will all come to fruition. I think these are their goals, and I think they serve them very well, and they serve a very few, a handful of people, but that's all that there is. And I don't see it all coming to pass myself. I just really don't. And that could just be my positiveness that I'm thinking of. I just think because somebody says they want to do something nefarious and they have all the tools and the resources, and if they can get people to go along with it, then it could come to pass. I just think that, other sources and other elements will be able to step in and good will prevail over evil. I just really do feel that. And that's just the way it is. And that's all the time we have for the show today, everyone. I really appreciate you being on. It's been a great show. Thanks. We've had quite a few people on for most of the show today. And have a happy and safe Wednesday. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. And Judy Strawn will join us talking about our fundraiser on June the 1st. We really appreciate her for coming on tomorrow, and we appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Have a great day, everyone. Make sure to like, share, and take care. Ciao.
Is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.